Right, apologies, the audio should be fixed now. That should be working now. Did it last stream as well. I think it's this new YouTube streaming thing. It seems to mute it by default. Yeah, cheers. Yeah, it's now they're on this new system. It's really strange. It seems to mute the stream almost when you start it, and then you have to unmute it, which it never did before. I don't know if it's like a privacy thing. Because you have to click go live now as well, where before you never had to do that. As soon as you started streaming in OBS, it started. Yeah, I'm good. So anyway, I'll repeat what I said. So good evening to Richard. Good evening to everybody else. Nice to see a load of you on. I'm going to stream for at least an hour tonight, hopefully more. I've obviously been at work all day today, but I've got quite a bit of energy, even though I've not had too much coffee today, so that's nice. I'm trying to cut down on my caffeine a bit as well. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Oh, YouTube's gone, suggestion, the audio stream's current bitrate is lower than the recommended bitrate. We recommend that you use an audio stream bitrate of 128 KB. Can you still hear me? Hopefully you can. I don't, because sometimes YouTube comes up with these warnings that don't even, you know, mean anything to me. And yeah, if people didn't see it the last time I had a stream, this is my Yugoslav helmet. Is it the M5985? I'm going to do a video this week where, well, the video won't go live this week obviously, but I'm going to film a video this week where I test this with the Yugoslavian M1 and M2 gas masks to see if the helmet would have worked properly with the masks, because a lot of helmets don't. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it probably doesn't mean much then, but the thing is I can't put the settings for the audio too high in OBS, because if I do that, I think it might, you know, start lagging the stream. I've also put on low latency today. So the good thing of it being on ultra low latency, as long as it doesn't cut out, you have to let me know, is if there's anything I need to see in the preview, it's not like stupidly far behind. But it's still flashing up the stream's current bitrate's low. Right, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold up my hand and then I'm going to count just to see how far behind it is. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. About 6 seconds. So yeah, that's not too bad at all. If it gets really distracting, I'll still stop it, but it's not as bad as the near minute delay that was on the previous ones. Oh, speaking of headaches, Peach, have you seen that really stupid new government rule that they're going to put in place? If you haven't seen this, this is quite funny. Basically, the government said that all opioid painkillers need to now have a warning on the box to say that they're addictive, as if people, you know, didn't know opium was addictive. You know, people have known that for quite a long time. But do you know what the dumb thing is? They already have a warning on the box. Look, here's a box of cocodamol, right? If you look at that, can cause addiction for 3 days use only. Oh dear. See, that's already on there. So what's this government legislation going to do? And then it also has a warning at the back of the box saying again that it can cause addiction. So well done. These new government laws do nothing to stop people becoming addicted. You can put stuff on the inside of them that are designed to stop lenses fogging up. I don't know if there's got to be commercially available stuff, but a lot of masks come with like anti-dim paste, they call it, and that's kind of like an oily kind of fat stuff that you put on the lenses that's meant to prevent fogging. I've heard people say you can put fairy liquid, like very thin amounts of fairy liquid on the inside of a thing and it doesn't fog up. I don't know how true that is. Yeah. And again, there was lots of things not understanding why there's addictions. Don't know where you're looking. There's no Nerf gun in the video, as far as I'm aware. Where are you looking? Nerf gun on the bottom shelf in the far right of the screen. What, over there? There's not a Nerf gun over there. Don't know what you're looking at. I keep getting people say, is that a Nerf gun? For various things in this video, and I don't know what they're looking at. Yellow and red things. One thing's a zombie box from old Warhammer. Like the zombie figurines. I never really collected old Warhammer. I collected Warhammer 40,000 properly, but I just wanted some zombie figures to paint at one point. So that's the red thing. And then the yellow thing, I think, is the pages of a book you can see there. Quite a thick book, actually. Which book is it? Is it Stephen King? Ah, it's a book you've probably read, Mike. I've read this before, but it's just in a weird place. There you go, the Tommy Knockers. That's what that is randomly, yeah. But I won't be able to get it back in case. Yeah, I've got some axes or spears. Right, Mace Windu. I'm assuming you're handless, Mace Windu, because Sheev's just, or Anakin, or whoever it was, just cut your hands off after you got electrocuted. Is there a spear in the background on this one? Yeah, there's a training spear in the background there, but that's not a, you know, that's like a sparring spear, because it's got the blunt head on it. But I've got an actual physical spear. But what I've really got that I really like is 2 pole arms, a billhook Richard Weaponsmith did me, and a glaive Richard Weaponsmith did me. So both of those can be used as thrust and cutting pole arms. It's an alright book, Mike. The problem I find with it is it's one of those very long Stephen King books where not a lot happens during a lot of it, but I read it, it wasn't bad. That's cool. Do you know what type of Flecktarn Parker it is? Is it just a standard West German one? Yugoslav. Soviets, I don't think, had the red stars on the helmet, because the hammer and sickle is obviously a Soviet thing. I think the Red Army might have had a star. But in general, it's like Vietnamese communism, isn't it? And some of the Chinese communism that use the red star, as well as Yugoslavia, I think. Could be wrong. No, I've never made a slingshot. I've shot some slingshots before, but never used them. No, I don't know which style those backpacks called. And sorry if Right, let me get my glasses on, because annoyingly now they've changed the chat thing. The chat's a lot smaller than before. Also, there's 45 people viewing and 19 likes, so if you haven't liked the stream yet, make sure to like it. Bosley, my problem with Stephen King a lot now is, as I said, I shouldn't really look in, like Mike says, you shouldn't look into their political beliefs of a lot of author or celebrities a lot, because a lot of the time they just seem to be, like, you know, very, very, SJW now, don't they? I prefer old coked and alcoholic Stephen King, than modern Stephen King, but there you go. Not without some sort of converter, Antonio, and sorry if I'm missing a load of comments just because they're coming in pretty fast and quick tonight. I suppose that's probably because it's a Sunday, isn't it? So lots of people aren't at work. I think it was a made-for-TV movie, wasn't it? A bit like It, Richard. So I've not seen the made-for-TV movie, so I can't say how close that is to the book, but what the book's about, and I don't want to give any spoilers, I think there's an alien, so some of this might be spoilers, but I think a lot of this comes about quite early in the stream, so don't listen if you don't want spoilers, but I doubt anybody really cares about a really old Stephen King book spoilers. Basically, I think it's about an alien spaceship that crashes somewhere. I think it's probably Maine. It's always Maine in a Stephen King book, isn't it? And I think it starts making the people go like crazy in the town, and they get like more and more crazy, and then it's up to like 1 or 2 people that aren't crazy, or being like mind controlled by the crash spaceship to then try and stop like the signals coming from it or whatever it is. When you say far right, I'm not sure if you mean the one that's on that side or that side, because often the webcams, like things are other way around. That's a GP5M, a Soviet mask, also known as the PMG2. That one is a Romanian PG1, which is an M65 copy. So it's basically a copy of that mask there. I think it's slightly better the PG1, but again, it's the same sort of mask. It's got a voice diaphragm on the what's it one? Oh yeah, sorry Peach, I missed your thing on that, didn't I? Yeah, I'm very tempted, but I don't think I will. Just because I think it's June or July, AMD's meant to be bringing out their new series of processors. And again, that's when I'm going to be spending a couple of grand buying a new PC. So I really ought to save my money for that. But I am very tempted. The problem is I don't think I'd be easily able to wall mount a rocket launcher, so then it's just going to take up more room. Canada made the C3 and the C4 mask. I'm assuming a firefighter's mask, I mean, they're not one new type of universal mask. There's quite a lot of different firefighters' masks, because, you know, all different countries use different masks, different fire services sometimes use different masks. But I assume most SCBAs that, you know, self-contained breathing apparatus firefighters use are fairly tough, good masks. The one SCBA I've got, which I can't really use properly, obviously, because I don't have an air tank or anything like that, but it can take filters, it just fogs up very quickly with filters because all the valves are set up in it. That Steve Gorman mask is made from very thick rubber, as in it's like one of the toughest gas masks I have from, you know, feeling it and the thickness of the rubber. But I think that's because it's meant to block a lot of heat coming in, you know, from the wearer. Yeah, it's an FNFAL deactivated one, but it's the British L1A1 SLR, which was the British built version of the FNFAL under license. No, I don't do anything illegal, Daniel. It's because lots of people like to accuse me of stuff like that, but if you watch my videos, you'll see I don't do anything like that, but, you know, people like to make stuff up. Yeah, if I went for one, Peach, I probably wouldn't go for the law. I'd probably go for one of the Milans or the Soviet Bumble launchers. I don't know of any African gas masks. Gas mask? But that's not to say there might not be some, but I think most African nations probably just bought surplus masks from other countries, you know, like a lot of the firearms and everything else. Probably a lot, and there's lots of different types of Wubawang masks, and it will depend on condition and how much a seller wants, Chris, but I have no interest in getting any. Don't know what you're on about with that, the Nate 371. Vape? Oh, do I vape? Yeah, sorry, I missed your previous question. There you go. I quit smoking, but I still have a vape, but I don't use it all that often. Yeah, the Soviet Bumble launcher is technically a I think it's a thermobaric warhead launcher, rather than being like an RPG or whatever, an anti-tank missile. But yeah, it's the one that had a camo tube and like a sticker on telling you how to operate it. Well, that sounds very interesting, Richard. Are you going to do a video on it when it's done? The worst gas mask in history, or the worst one I've got, Chris? The worst one I've ever seen is the Chinese M65, I think it's called. And it's a Chinese gas mask that has one big cheek filter in one side of the mask. You can't replace the filter, apparently. You know, it was like sewn into the mask at the factory. But because it was done like that in the factory, quite often, by the time you got one on the front lines, they were expired. So, you know, it would offer you no protection. No, it's a Yugoslavian helmet. You can see kind of from the side that it is a Stahlhelm, because I think it's called the Yugoslavian Stahlhelm, the M5985. So if you got one of these in grey, it wouldn't look too dissimilar to a German helmet, but this is the actual Yugoslavian one. No, I haven't heard of that Slingshot Warrior. Was that on the news? I've bought inert ammo from D&B Militaria, but I've also bought inert ammo from surplus stores and other places. With the postage price, it's probably quite expensive to buy inert ammo from D&B Militaria unless you're buying it with like a bayonet or a deactivated gun or something else. Because if you're paying the postage on something else, it's not going to cost you any more to have the inert ammo in the same package. But if you're paying like whatever their cheapest, shipping price is for just inert ammunition, it's probably a waste of money, to be honest. But I don't see the point in getting like a full mag's worth of inert ammo. I just get a couple of rounds to load, the mag spring up to a few rounds down, just so it looks like you've got a full mag if you just quickly looked at it, because I can't shoot it. Was the R1, Janny, the same one that they South Africa gave to Rhodesia, or sold to Rhodesia, where they then removed the logos to pretend they didn't get them from South Africa? Is that the one? Because apparently Rhodesian fowls are really nice as well. No, but it doesn't surprise me a donkey can wear a gas mask, Chris, because they made gas masks for horses. Don't forget to like the stream, everybody. I'll just mention that again, because it says 35 likes, 40 viewers. So let's see if we can get it over 40 likes. That would be nice, because it does seem to help the streams get shared a bit more. The more people, liking and watching it and all that. And yep, don't forget, if you're interested in gas mask themed merchandise, there'll be some in the Teespring link below. There might be new designs coming out soon when Bart gets a chance to do them. Yeah, I've seen a few Vickers Tacticals and I think Forgotten Weapons videos on those, Bosley. I quite like the Rhodesian paint job on them as well, the baby puke one, whatever they call it, like the green and brown one. But I think that's quite a good sort of little camo spray pattern on it. My Avon CG12 is my favourite mask, mate, so I'd use that. That one. I've no longer got the FAQ in the description because how the new stream thing works, it's a bit of a pain to keep copy and pasting that in each time. And the other thing as well is a lot of people either didn't read the FAQ or they'd read the FAQ and then keep asking me questions from the FAQ to be annoying. So I figured out I'd just give a very quick answer the first time somebody asks a certain question during the stream, and then after that say, I've already answered that. Alright, Casper, or Caspia. Do you mean the German M38 from World War II? Hang on right there a second, Jacob. I'll see if I can get it down. It's a damaged one, so I couldn't ever use it. But there you go. It's a bit dusty because it's hanging on the wall. There you go. German GM38. But interesting enough, look who made it. Let me just get the metal to the webcam where you can see it. Is that going to focus? Yeah, there we go. Bavarian Motorworks. Yeah, BMW. So I have a BMW, but sadly not a car. When you say most popular, do you mean the most mass-produced Soviet mask? Well, I suppose the most popular and the most mass-produced Soviet mask could be the GP5, or technically Shum62U, which I think's the name for the GP5. When you say Australian Sten, do you mean the, was it the Owen gun, was it? Let me have a look. Owen's SMG, is that the name of it? Owen SMG? I haven't seen a camo thing on it though. Let's have a look. Oh, cool. So yeah, that's very much like the Rhodesian thing. It's like a green and yellow line type thing. Yeah. Yeah, that's very much like the Rhodesian thing, but with a bit more of a brown colour on the Rhodesian fowls. $30 US, that's like 20 odd pounds. Yeah, that's not bad for a PMG. I mean, you might be able to get one cheaper, but yeah. Does it come with a bag and everything? If it comes with a bag, that's not too bad. No idea, Chris. I'd assume the smallest gas mask made is probably like a very young infant's mask, not the ones so for children so young you had to pump them with like a valve. But you know, like an Israeli children's mask or like the British Mickey Mouse mask, something like that. That'd be like one of the smallest masks as far as I'm aware. Soviet PDF in like the smallest size maybe. Biggest mask ever made, I guess, a horse gas mask of some sort. Unless anybody made an elephant gas mask at some point, but... Sadly I've not played piano in ages, but I do have a piano and I used to play it. I never took any gradings or anything like that, but, you know, I could read sheet music, play sheet music. I can play better, play better by ear than actually sheet music. As in, you know, listening to a bit of music and then trying to play it sort of from memory. I can do that a bit better. Also, this came today, Mike, as I said. Hang on, I can't get in the place I can get it. I should take the wrapper off because it's going to be a bit shiny on the webcam, but I've got all these on DVD, but the entire Blu-ray box set's out now for, and it's nice that they put in a little case, so it's not even going to take up that much space, but I quite like Motorhead. It wasn't too long ago, Lemmy died, wasn't it? But, yeah, Ace of Spades, Bomber, the Hammer, that's another alright one, isn't it? But yeah, Motorhead's alright. I quite like a lot of music as long as it sounds good. I don't know if I've listened to much Judas Priest though. Let's just open this in an interesting way, shall we? She's saying that the Fairbairn Sykes isn't a good knife for opening packaging because it's a piercing knife, not a slashing knife. But there we go. Yeah, I thought there'd be some people in today, so I'd order it, but I think it went through the door absolutely fine anyway, because they didn't put it in stupidly bulky packaging. And as I said, I definitely prefer DVD box sets if they just do this, because they take up less room on my shelf. So how many discs are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's only 4 volumes. And there, that's every episode in 1080p. Because, yeah, apparently it was filmed on 35mm, so that's like proper film stock when they did all these. But I like how universal, suitable for all. Where if you've actually seen any Captain Scarlet, it's a bit questionable how good a U rating is on things about puppets committing terrorism. Or aliens committing terrorism, killing people who want to commit, you know, like acts of mass destruction. Cheers. African or Asian tribal knives and guns? No, the only African thing I've got, as far as I'm aware, I showed it before, is like a Berber kind of thing. Is it Bedouin? I don't know if I can get it out easily for this stream, sorry. I think it's in this drawer. Is it in this drawer? Yeah, there it is. Hang on. There we go. What do you mean, what's the point? It's a Fairbairn Sykes. It's a really cool military knife. That has some, like, strange sort of markings on the middle of it. Yeah, it's a Logitech 1080p webcam now, so it picks up light better and it's 1080p rather than 720p, and it's got autofocus. Blade's quite rusty, but obviously I'm never going to use this as a practical knife. Bart got it me as a gift when he went to Morocco one year. Right, let's put that back in its box. What's wrong with it, Jort? It looks better now, it's got more stuff on it. and it clears up clutter around the house if it's on the wall. I think I've heard Panzer Battalion by Sabaton, but I've not really listened to much of their stuff. I think one of my friends quite likes Sabaton, but I've never really listened. I'm sure I'd like it if I listened, but... People still say is that a Lee Enfield on the wall, so they obviously can see it, but yeah. I mean, sadly, the problem is the walls I've got in here aren't like proper walls in a sense. They're like that plasterboard stuff, so I can't actually do a big gun board like Weapon Collector's got. I would love one on the wall if I could, because then I could have loads of masks supported well, so it wouldn't damage the masks, and like all the rifles and everything supported on the wall. But sadly, you know how the wall is, I don't think I could put much more on that wall. No, none of it falls down. You know, it'd be a bit worrying, wouldn't it, with my bed there? Because I think Lee Enfield, if that smacked you on the head, it would probably kill you from that height. But no, the only time I ever knock anything is if I knock the bokken during the night, because that's not too far away from the bed itself. But obviously, the thing you have to bear in mind is with camera perspectives, some of the things might appear different distances than they actually are. Because obviously, things in the foreground of a camera shot appear closer than the background. I actually had somebody bitching about that to me the other day, saying got the measurements on something wrong, even though I showed a tape measure in the video, because they're saying like that's clearly bigger than you're saying it was. It was on like a machete or a sword video or something. I was like, no, it's perspective. If I'm holding the machete out in front of me like that in a video, you know, it's going to look a lot bigger than it actually is, you know. Because like, yeah, if I hold this knife to the camera, look. Wow, this looks like a big blade. Look, that blade's like half the size of my head. Oh wait, it's not. It's called perspective. I haven't missed much, how awesome, just chatting the shit really. If it's completely stuck to the bottom of the can, you wouldn't be able to get it off, then no. If you could get it off gently and it wouldn't rip everything, then yeah, I'd go for it. None of the swords can fall and hurt me. They're all in scabbards. They're all held on with hooks. If I did that though, they wouldn't be visible in the stream, and then they'd take up more space. Because if I did that, then the bed would have to come out further from the wall, which would reduce the space even more. I mean, if I had the space for all that, it would be lovely, but sadly in the UK, you're never going to get space in, you know, your average house for doing lots of shit like that, unless you had a purpose-built room for it. All over the place, frost, some from Blades and Bows, some from Amazon, some from hardware stores, some from people like Weapon Collector when I bought them. A very small helmet collection, Joe, not that many. This is the most latest, you know, this is the latest helmet I bought, and this was only £13, and it's an excellent, like, grade A condition for that, so I was really happy with this Yugoslav helmet, but yeah, it is. You can see on the clock back there what the time is. I get the likes now, I've gone more than the concurrent viewers, that's very good. But if we can get the likes up to 100 before the time I finish the stream, that would be brilliant, because I'm going to go for at least another half hour, but I might go for an hour and a half if I've got the energy, because as I said, I was working like 8 odd hours today at work, so I had a fairly busy day, but you know, I've still got a bit of energy. Cool. What, a Yugo gas mask, Charles, or a Yugo helmet? It's not quite 4K, but I wouldn't bother buying a 4K webcam because they cost loads of money, and then you need an even better bit rate to stream. I don't know how diplomatic immunity would work. I thought that's more just so diplomats can't be arrested for like very minor crimes. No, what it is, Creamy Cake, is you're not too far off. It's a reproduction of, I think it's called the US 1860 saber, but it's heavily based on a lot of the French and British cavalry sabres from the Napoleonic Wars. So it's not too far off if you say that. But I've seen some of Primitive Tech's videos, but not all that many. Is that the guy that builds all the houses from mud and like clay? If that's the guy you're thinking of, I've definitely watched his videos. But I don't regularly watch him. It's just one that, you know, where now and again I'll watch his videos, but, you know, not regularly. Totally depends on the grade of the helmet, but you can get grade 3A Kevlar helmets, and a grade 3A Kevlar helmet can stop a, you know, 44 Magnum at fairly close range, supposedly, at least according to all the agencies that rate Kevlar, the NIJ level, whatever it is. Certainly stop 357 Magnum with 9mm. I have no idea, then, Nate. I'm not the right person to ask about all that sort of stuff. No idea, Nathaniel. eBay is a place I'd definitely recommend for helmets. In terms of like inert cannon shells, D&B Militario, where I get my deactivated guns from, they sell shells. Well, Kevlar's a lot modern and better, but I guess for logistics and mass production, steel helmets are probably better than Kevlar. You know, if you have the option of giving steel helmets to all your soldiers, or Kevlar helmets to like a tenth of them, steel's definitely better because it's at least going to give you protection from a fair bit of shrapnel. It's just Kevlar obviously gives you better ballistic protection, so it will stop shrapnel travelling at faster speeds, or some bullets. But there's even videos of old steel pot helmets being shot with pistol calibers and them sometimes stopping it, so you know, I'd rather have a steel pot on my head than nothing. Yeah, I'll write it down for you, Nathaniel. It's D&B Militaria. There you go, if you Google that, that's for the UK though. I'm assuming it's a very new one. I mean, it's old enough that it's an actual Yugoslav one, because it's got the red star on, not like a Serbian symbol or Croatian one or whatever. But, like, the condition of it's very good. Let me show you. If I get straps loosened. So that's the liner inside it. Sadly, there's not many real surplus stores left, Antonio. So that's the inner liner's condition, very good. That's the shell. I might make more plans on lighter videos when I've got some good lighters, like new ones I can do it with. But at the moment, not really, because I'd just be repeating myself on a lot of videos, I think, because I've not got loads more like new stuff to talk about with them. Ah, okay. Yeah, this is a very good helmet. It's one of the best I've seen for like the strap doing up idea. You know, where you've got like two bits you unclasp, pull tight once you've got it on your head and then clasp them again. It works more like gas mask straps than a lot of traditional helmet straps, because a lot of helmet straps are the buckle up ones, or the ones where you have to adjust the liner before putting it on. I don't know if it was really late Yugoslavian helmets that were Kevlar, but there's certainly like Serbian Kevlar helmets and everything, isn't there? But saying this seems a fairly good helmet. I bet if you found some ballistic tests of this, it would do fairly well. It would stop 22 long rifle and everything, or 22 long rifle. Might stop 9mm and 45 ACP at a fair distance. Probably not if they're FMJ rounds, but hollow points it might stop 1 or 2. But it certainly stops shrapnel. Well, some shrapnel. Depends on the velocity and, you know, how it fragments. But again, it's going to cut down your casualty rate from shrapnel by quite a fair bit. See you, Spartan Kid. There's probably statues of William the Conqueror somewhere in England. Yeah, I saw you say that, Explosion. I think it must be pretty fairly new and in good condition because of how unused it seems when I got it. Alright, cool, Antonio. Ah, good. 57 likes now compared to 36 current viewers, so that's very good. So what's everybody been doing today? I've been at work, as said, but has anybody been doing anything fun? Alright, while I'm waiting for you to say what you're doing, I'm just going to quickly check my emails. No, nothing interesting. Alright, okay. So I sometimes just put my phone on airplane mode when I'm streaming, so I don't notice any messages when I get them to distract me. It's a different design than the US M1 helmet, if that's what you mean. This is more similar to the German World War II Stauhelms, this helmet, in terms of shape. Ah, yeah, that's what I said earlier. I thought it was an M59 M85, but yeah, that makes sense. Cool. What sort of plants did you get creamy cake? The line system I've got in my M1 helmet, but bear in mind my M1 I think is a clone, not an original US one, is actually like a buckle that does up in the middle. You know, like you adjust the straps before putting it on, then you've got a clasp and you put the clasp together and it kind of loops over itself. Yeah, happy birthday for tomorrow, Mike. It's Weapon Collector's birthday tomorrow, on Monday. I sent him some money on eBay so he could buy himself a riot helmet, and I think he's ordered it. Yeah, you said it was coming Wednesday to Friday, didn't you, the delivery estimate? So that'll be good. We'll hopefully get a video done on that when it comes. And some other people got him some stuff. Weapon Survival, 94, Stu, he got him, what did Stu get him? A load of arrows, and was it a kukri blade or something like that Stu got you? I can't remember now, a machete blade. I think you said some other people got you some stuff as well, Mike, didn't you? Oh, yeah, I imagine they smell like nice. I like the smell of lavender. I've actually got a lavender fragrance thing in my window there. You won't be able to see it in the stream, but you know, like a wax warmer thing. Because the smell doesn't irritate my nose or throat too much unless, you know, I put too much wax in there. But it's quite a pleasant smell for the room. No, this helmet's pretty lightweight. As long as the strap system supports the weight. If you lean back, yeah, you get a bit of strain on the back of your neck. But in general, no. I think it's more down to the liner than anything. You know, if a liner of a helmet supports the helmet's weight properly, it's not really a problem. $550 for an M1 helmet seems like a bit of a rip-off considering how mass-produced they are. But whatever, if he's happy with it, his money, I suppose. YouTube videos, weirdly enough, SN. You know, like I'm doing now. And watch films and play video games, but I don't play that many video games now. I'll have to watch all through this at some point, which is my most recent purchase. Well, I watched all these only like a year ago, but that was in DVD quality, so obviously Blu-ray 1080p would look a lot better. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing with good line systems, isn't it, Explosion 66, that the better the liner system, the more comfortable the helmet will be. Because I've got some helmets that are really good helmets, but they've got shit liner systems, or vice versa. Because the modern British helmets, they're quite nice, but the liner system's definitely an improvement on the Mark 6. But what I don't like is you can only adjust the liner so much on one side. So I always have, the helmet always seems a bit, you know, like lopsided when I have it on. Because I can never get it quite evenly tight on both sides because of the weird strap system. And I've seen a lot of helmets like that where there's, you know, weird liners that... I prefer liners like this, you know, where they're identical on both sides, so you can get it as tight as you want it on each side, because most people don't have a head that's, you know, 100% uniform in shape. Yeah, I'm on 62 likes so far, so don't forget to like the stream, everybody, if you've tuned in recently and haven't given it a like yet, because the more likes these streams seem to get, the more they seem to get shared. What, like the big flak guns, Antonio? Like flak 88s and things like that? Or do you mean, like the quad anti-air guns they had? I liked things like the Shilka and the Tunguska myself, like the Soviet radar anti-air artillery. I suppose at least it's a hammer shaft or whatever, rather than you know, like a sword and you have to start all over again with it. Cool. Yeah, Concorde's an interesting plane. It's a shame they stopped flying them. Why was it they stopped flying Concorde in the end? Was it like safety fears and all that? Even though most of the accidents involving Concorde, I think, were pilot error, weren't they, rather than plane error? Oh, World War II anti-aircraft helmets. Let me Google that, because I don't actually know anti-aircraft helmets, what they'd look like. Oh, are they like flat kind of helmets? Oh, like ones that. So do they just have more of a like bit around them? Is that like the thing, like for neck and sort of head protection, or is that? Some of them look interesting, like the Stow helms with the rim around, but yeah. Yeah, I think most people, even like I said, you can hate Nazi Germany for their evil regime, but I think most people agree the Hugo Boss uniforms are pretty cool looking. The M40 Stauhelms were like, you know, one of the best looking military helmets ever. The big noob, I take it you've got a GP5 from your profile picture. I'm not going to enlarge it full screen, but it looks like you got a GP5 or SHM41 from your profile picture. Or maybe a Chinese TF1, I really can't see from the small picture, but I'm assuming it's one of those masks. I have, because I've got several GP5s and other Soviet masks. In Soviet masks, I'm generally size 2 or 3. But I'd say size 2 is a slightly better fit for me. Size 3 is more comfortable, but I'm more likely to break the seal if I like yawn or open my mouth too wide. But yeah, so I say size 2 really for Soviet masks. But again, things like the PMG, they're smaller than some of the other masks. In a PMG, I definitely need a size 3. But like a GP5M or a GP5, size 2 is fine. Yeah, the Pascuts and the successors to the Pascuts all Stauhelm shaped, aren't they? Again, it's a practical design, because again, this is based on a Stauhelm, because it's got that kind of shape to it, because it's a practical shape. Probably German World War II, I'd say, but I still like some of the Italian stuff. Which one is MP3 Polish mask? I know what the MP5 is and the MP4. What's an MP3? Is that the SHMS copy that I've seen some people say is a Polish MP3? If that's the case, then yes, GP5 filters would fit it. Not that I'd recommend you use a GP5 filter on it. Nah, definitely wouldn't, Nate. They're very expensive, and again, I don't like, you know, the history behind a lot of the stuff like that. Although I collect a lot of stuff, you know, where the history's a bit dodgy, I don't really like, you know, as I think I've said quite a few times before. Well, $7 for a GP5 isn't too bad. Yeah, I've got a German M40 Stauhelm Explosion, but it's a rusty one with no liner. Annoyingly, this is an opportunity I should have jumped at, and I never bothered, and I really, you know, it's one of those things where people say, what did you regret purchasing or not purchasing? This is one of the things I definitely regretted not purchasing. I think on eBay at one point, like going back a couple of years ago, there was a Spanish Stauhelm, so like a Franco-Spain Stauhelm, that, you know, looks exactly like the German ones, except it might have had a different insignia on it. And that was, I think, about 30 quid, and I absolutely, you know, would kick myself for not getting that, because it had the liner and everything, but because it was a Spanish one, not a German one, it was getting sold really cheap. But, you know, hindsight, you know, I think at the time, you know, I didn't have much spare money with whatever I was doing, so I probably ended up buying a mask or buying something else instead. But, you know, in hindsight, being able to get a Stauhelm for 30 quid, that would have been a bargain. No, because it's not the charcoal leaking that's the problem, Charles. It's the asbestos that's in the particulate filter. Don't know what much else explosion, to be honest. That's the main one that comes to me when I think now, because it's one of those things that regularly goes. I'll tell you another thing. See where I've got like the FAL and the deactivated rifles. I think at one point D&B Militaria had some G3s, I don't know which model of G3 it was, but you know, G3 with the wood furniture, like a bit like the Set Me, I think for around £200, and yeah, £200 for a deactivated rifle. Definitely would have liked to have got that. Another one that I wish I'd have got, but again, I think at the time I didn't have enough spare money, was the Set Me Owl rifle, which was Spain's first 5.56 rifle. And that's like a really... If you Google Set Me L, I think Forgotten Weapons has done some videos on it, but they had some of those. And again, they're really cool looking. They weren't that practical as a rifle, but for a deactivated one, that doesn't matter. They just look pretty futuristic, or like retro-futuristic. Yeah, I mean, some people will assume that anyway, won't they, Mike? But yeah, like, I know with, like you said before, haven't you, that like if the police ever raided you for something, and you've got that sort of stuff, it's very easy for them to make a narrative that you're like a right-wing extremist or something like that, a neo-Nazi. But like I said, I've not really got any interest in paying loads and loads of money for Nazi military. Yeah, for 130, that sounds very good. You can shake it frost over a piece of white paper, then you'll see if anything falls on the white paper. But, really, as I said, never wear a GP5 filter. Which gas mask? Right, don't forget to like the stream, everybody. We're on 66 likes so far, but if anybody's come on the stream and hasn't liked it yet, give it a like, because that tends to boost the amount of people that see it. Hello, person with a JC Denton avatar. Well, it's in the brown shirts, Charles, I say. Don't think I've seen what those daggers look like. I know like the Luftwaffe sort of Hitler Youth style daggers, but quite a lot of the royal family was, and like British establishment. Because the thing was, Nate, at the time, is like a lot of people were afraid of the communists, so lots of people were quite willing to side with the Nazis because they weren't the communists. Let me Google that. I do have a Swiss Stahlhelm, but I'm not sure if it's that one. Let me Google the name of it and I'll tell you if it's that one. If that's one with a... The only ones coming up for that are like weird Swiss Guard helmets, but in terms of Swiss Stahlhelms, if you just Google Swiss steel helmet, or is it Swiss Stahlhelm M18? Yeah, that's the one I have, a Swiss Stahlhelm M18, but it doesn't have a liner in, so sadly I can't, you know, wear it in a video, otherwise I definitely would, but it kind of looks like a Darth Vader helmet. No, I don't have any use for one, Nate. I mean, I don't have any use for a lot of this stuff, but you know what I mean. Don't particularly find that all that interesting. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Explosion, all the things people will associate with you with just because you have some surplus or militaria from a bit of history. You said I bought a GP5 for dollars. How many dollars? Because you'd have to say how many dollars it was before I know if it's a good deal or not. If it was $5, $10, yeah, that's a good deal. If it's $100, no, that's a bad deal. How many dollars was it? $10, yeah, $10. Yeah, that's brilliant, because that's like, what, £7, £8 in the UK? So yeah, GP5 kit for that much, yeah, brilliant. You can use a satchel for something if you really wanted to as well. Cool, what's a car pot then? Or like a car boot sale, or... What's the 2013 video, Alfie's Militaria? I mean, I've been YouTubing since 2012, but saying the 2013 video isn't, doesn't really say anything to me. Most of the, I think both the the Volksmask 37 and the Volksmask 40, I think were around £30 each with the boxes. Yeah, I completely get you, Explosion, but as I said, lots of people get funny about stuff like that, don't they? Yeah, fishing bag, sounds good. What about the revolver replica? No, I never used Knife Warehouse. I haven't heard of it. I mean, $15 shipping's a bit expensive, but I suppose that's $40 in total for an M56 Stow helmet. If it's in good condition, yeah. That's my favourite steel helmet, the Stow helmet. It looks silly, but it's the M56, but it's a good helmet. Antonio Solik, is that your full name? I don't have a Soviet Yushenko, no. Cheers, leaf flavoured bleach. Funnily enough, I was saying to my friend the other day, I was saying to Bart, I said, do you think a company would get in trouble if they did flavoured bleaches? Like with the police or some sort of advertising standards agency? Alright, tell you what, I'm going to have a quick look on eBay. Don't forget to like the stream, everybody, if you've not liked it so far. And don't forget, you can get gas mask themed merchandise and everything below at my Teespring link. I'm just going to see if there's any interesting gas masks on eBay while I'm waiting for some more questions to come in. GP5, S10, MC1, MP5, World War II British civilian mask, British light anti-gas respirator, GP7 PMG, light anti-gas respirator S10, GP7, light anti-gas respirator, Belgian BEM 4GP, FM12. FM12s at the moment on eBay for £45 with the bag. That's a pretty good price. I would definitely pay £45 for an FM12 if I didn't have one. So far, Michelle, there's not been anything really weird on there, but I've seen some of those airsoft M50s with like the fans in them, but I've not seen anything really silly. But yeah, if anybody's interested, if you search on eBay at the moment, FM12 gas mask, on UK eBay, there's ones coming up for £45 with the satchel. So that's a fairly good price for an FM12. There you go, Frost Laskian. There's my recommendation, the FM12 if you don't have it. About 6 or 7, thick shady. But some of them have shorter dates on than others. So again, I'd use them by date order. But in an actual emergency, I'd use my like foil wrapped ones with the longest dates on. Depends really what I'm using them for. But yeah, in terms of how many sealed filters I've got like ready to go, about 7. In terms of how many I'd really trust my life on, only a couple of those, if I had to, you know. The Avon CT12J, and as I was saying, the Avon FM12, the military version of that mask, is on eBay at the moment for like £45. Is it an anti-dimming cloth, Alfie? A lot of those have the cloths for wiping the inside of the lenses to stop them fogging up as much. Anti-dim cloths, whatever they want to call them. Somewhere on the side of the GP5, Anthony, there'll be like a date on it, basically, like a 2-year date. Like it could be like 62 for 1962, or like 68 for 1968, 77 for 1977, say. So it's that one. Alright, cool, yeah, enjoy your M56. So that's only a week to wait, wait, not even a week. Yeah, a few days. The Israeli civilian mask is a better mask if you want one for like actual protection and everything. The SHMS is cooler. So go with the one you want. What do you want it for, Charles? Actual practical use or being cool? Which one's the M62 Stout? Hang on, let me just Google it. Oh, is that the West German one? Oh, is it an S German M1 copy, basically? I assume it's alright then, but yeah. If it's an M1 copy, it's just an M1 copy, really. Fairly competent helmet, but not the best helmet in the Cold War. 30 to 40 pounds at the most, fixed shady, I'd say. Otherwise, you're getting into the FM12 price range, and why for an S10? Because the FM12 is a better mask. I'm sure India's probably domestically made gas mask J, but I don't know what they'd be. India has a lot, like, you know, both NATO and Soviet equipment, so it's very possible they've made one that looks completely different, or they've made one in the style of a Soviet or a NATO mask. I don't actually know, but I'm sure a country as big as India would have done that. Yeah, I've got one Kevlar vest in the background there. Ignore the shoulder pads, that's riot armour on top of the Kevlar vest, but that's police Kevlar. I've got an old army flak jacket, so that's not technically Kevlar, it's ballistic nylon, but it's body armour. And I've got a British Army plate carrier, Osprey Mark IV armour. I've not got a plate in it, but I have got front and back Kevlar level 2 armour in it. Like, as the panels, so it would stop pistol rounds. Good evening. Claim it back from like the delivery company being incompetent and Frost. Don't know if I've seen the Mexican gas masks again. I'm sure lots of nations have attempted to make them in the past, but it's whether or not they could make them, you know, priced efficiently or whatever for their own use, or sometimes they just buy them on contract from other countries or surplus just because it ends up being a lot cheaper. No, I'm medically unfit to serve Dharma even if I wanted to. So the answer's no. I'd try eBay, Alfie. I can't really advise you more than that. But again, if it's a M1 helmet clone, just search M1 and then what you're looking for, because the M1 is the name everybody calls it. Because, you know, US M1 helmet. Don't go via the German name for it, because, you know, it's actually an M1 helmet, basically. No, I don't have any finished stuff other than 2 M61 gas masks. A Finnish M61 V2 and M61 V3. A Finnish World War II M39 civilian mask. And technically, my Scott M98 was produced in Finland. But I don't think I have any other finished stuff, like military. Not that I can think of, anyway. Right, it says we're at 39 viewers, so if you're new to the stream and want to give it a like, please do, because that helps, you know, get more people to see it. 40 viewers at the moment. Oh yeah, thank you, got a couple more likes after saying that. Yeah, the only reason I keep saying for people to like it and all that so often now is it definitely seems with YouTube's algorithms, how they do it now, if people like the stream when they're watching it, it seems you're more likely to get sent notifications for my videos, and it's more likely that, you know, more people seem to get the notifications for this video. So generally, yeah, just asking people to like the stream every now and again during when I'm doing them. You know, it might sound a bit patronising, but it does seem to help, you know, people spot the videos. Yeah, there's 2 deactivated rifles in the background, Jay. A Lee Enfield or SMLE #1 Mark III, and a British L1A1 self-loading rifle, which is a British domestic version of the FN-FAL. Probably my XM28 Alfie, I'd guess. Thank you, Constantine. I'm not planning to get any time to soon, Rich. What I'm playing a lot at the moment again is Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, because there's been another update to that. But it didn't work all that well when I was streaming it last time, but I might try streaming it again at some point. But they've done like the Asian dynasty kind of stuff in there, which is things like ninjas and samurai, you know, like stuff like that. They've put all them in the update now, so you can make like samurais fight knights and all that if you want to. I sometimes do Antonio, but I've had a bit of problem with last time I was doing it, where it kept crashing, and it was OBS that was crashing, not the game. That was the problem. Avon CT12, mate, my favourite mask. Favourite World War I rifle? That one, Lee Enfield #1 Mark III. Because I'm pretty sure they had that by the start of World War I, or at least partway through World War I. Size 2. Because they do size 1, 2 and 3. Size 1, weirdly, is the biggest size. Size 3 is the smallest. So, yeah, this is the Yugo helmet again, Shot Zombie. Well, fully British, but I'd be, technically, you know, like part Irish, part English, whatever, but I'd say predominantly English, but again, I don't really care all that much about that. I'm not one of those people that's like, ooh, I've got so much more whatever ancestry than you, where people seem to get very funny about it. But the problem is, there's not really any good alternative to Windows, is there? There's a Mac, which you can't upgrade, which costs way more to begin with. And then there's Linux and Ubuntu and whatever, and again, does anybody really use those? Potentially, Charles. Do you see the problem is with a lot of these helmets is I don't think they have like impact stuff in them. So if you were to smack your head, it's better than obviously smacking the concrete with your head, but these aren't going to offer you anywhere near as good protection as a bike helmet. Because motorcycle and cycle helmets are designed to crack in a certain way, where if you hit the ground, the force goes into the helmet. With these, the force is probably just going to go sideways into your head. Again, probably not as much as if you hit the floor with a regular, you know, your regular head, but it wouldn't be as good as, you know, like an actual proper cycle helmet. That's a danger. I've got a piano Constantine. Technically I've got a violin. I've got a theremin. I've got a guitar and an electric guitar. But the piano is the only thing I can play to any degree of actually sounding like a player. I think I have a not an oboe. What's the really cheap one? The recorder. Yeah, I have a recorder somewhere as well. But yeah, the piano is the only thing I can play close to even being able to say I can play it, and then I can't even play it to a good degree. It's fun to mess about with now and then. Where I've been tidying my room up again, it means I'll be able to play the piano if I want to easily now, because there's not loads of clutter in the way of the piano, so I can just, you know, sit down and roll up the lid and play it. What's that in World War I, the P-17? Is that, though, like the Enfield that was used by America, though? But they, like, rechambered it in 30-06, or am I thinking a completely wrong thing? No, that's really cool. Yeah, I'm glad that you, I'm saying I'm glad I spotted the FM12s for £45 for people that wanted them, because, as I said, they're one of those masks that you can get for a good price if you look around often enough, but often people go, no, they're just too expensive. But the thing is, don't buy them from a seller charging like nearly 100 quid for it, you know, like 60 to 100 quid. Wait till you see a seller that's got one for a good price. That's all you have to do. You know, if you spend enough time searching eBay for a certain item, you'll eventually get one for a good price normally. Oh yeah, they definitely did use a Springfield, but wasn't there an Enfield? Or I'm probably thinking of the American Civil War, aren't I? Flying Hell. Because they used an Enfield rifle in the American Civil War quite a lot. No, I've not read the Saga of Beowulf. I've seen the weird part CGI movie Beowulf, whatever it was called, but that was a bit weird. What I just do with bidding on eBay is I add something to my watch list if I'm interested in bidding on it, and then I put a bid in like last minute or so it's for sale, and then I'll put like, you know, the maximum amount I'm willing to pay, because that way you won't force the price up earlier, so you know you're only going to get beaten if somebody's going to put a really high bid on it. That way, you know, you can often get things a lot cheaper than if you decide to put a bid on it early, and then people, you know, keep competing, seeing that there's lots of bids on it. Because there's nothing more appropriate, Raphael. And I don't mean there's nothing more appropriate as in I couldn't think of anything more appropriate. It's just on YouTube there's categories like gaming, pets and animals and things like that. So how to and style is the thing that applies to most of my videos. There's people and blogs as well. I suppose technically I could say so, the people and blog, but there's not a good category for history related discussion or stuff like that. Good evening, Penguin. I'll Google the Kentucky long rifle. Ah, that's a pretty long looking rifle. The famous British rifle from that period is called the Brown Bess. One of my friends has a replica Brown Bess. If I could spot one for under £100, I might get a replica Brown Bess and try and put it on that wall somewhere. Because they're cool looking rifles. But yeah, I do like some of the old muskets, but I'm not as interested in them as modern firearms. I'm just going to Google Enfield rifles because I'm interested in what models there were of the Enfield. USM 1917, here we go. The pattern 1914 Enfield and M1917 Enfield rifles are based on the Enfield design P1913. It's Alpha Male's a P98 derivative and not based on the Lee action. Oh, okay. They are not part of the Lee Enfield family of rifles, but they are frequently assumed to be. So yeah, I made that same mistake. Yeah, I've watched some of Demolition Ranch's videos, but I preferred his lower, almost low budget videos than his more modern ones. That's cool. Was it like rusted and everything stick, or was it in good condition? Paul Harrell's my favourite gun channel on YouTube, because he has, I'd say, the most educational of all the gun channels, if you're prepared to sit through quite a long video. Basically, JBO, that's a British police Kevlar vest, but with French riot helmet on top of the Kevlar vest. And it's holding the Bokken, because what I've done is the sleeves of the riot thing have thumb holes in, so you can put, you know, your thumbs through the sleeves like that. So I've got the Bokken through the elasticated thumb holes, and then I've got the Bokken put behind the GP7 so it doesn't fall over. Now, I've been asked a bit about metal detecting. The problem is I think there's a lot of laws where you have to get permission to, you know, dig on somebody's land unless you're digging on the beach. And I think there's lots of rules in the UK as well, sadly, where, you know, if you find something you might have to report it and then you can only get a bit of the money from it. So, you know, rules like that, it sort of puts me off buying a detector or getting sent one. Yeah, I liked Paul's latest video where he demonstrates that you wouldn't want to get taken hostage by an apple. And, you know, the little kid going, "Is that a sniper?" I've got more interest in planes than helicopters, but there are helicopters I like, you know, like the Mi-24 Hind, or I think Crocodile is its Russian name, isn't it, technically, but, you know, the Apaches and the Cobras. Hueys are nice as well. But in terms of planes, I like lots of World War II planes, and I like lots of jet fighters, but my favourite class of aircraft is ground attack, or, like, you know, close air support ones. Things like the A-10, the Su-25, the Stuka, you know, the Thunderbolts when the US used them for that rather than using them as a fighter. All that sort of stuff. I don't know what that is, Penguin. I know what 9mm ammunition is in terms of like 9mm by 19, and I know the Soviets and the Russians had 9x39mm in rifles, and I know there was 9x18mm for the Makarovs, but no, everything I own, Antonio, as I've said over and over again, is totally legal. There is nothing illegal here. I have not got a criminal record or anything like that. The police have no trouble with me, weirdly enough, because I don't commit any crimes. Yeah, Frogfoot. Yeah, have you seen all the really good pictures of those shot zombie? That and the A-10 where there's pictures of them with like half the plane blown off and they were still able to fly them back and land them. Just because of like how well built the planes were. Right, see you, Anthony. No, I've not read anything like that, Alduin. Like I said, I haven't read Beowulf or anything like that either. Hello, Vladimir. You alright? Oh yeah, I know the early Stukas were dive bombers, but they could still use them for strafing ground targets. But yeah, obviously the Gunbird ones were the Gs, because they used the guns for shooting tanks in the rear armour and the top armour. But like I said, the Stuka's just a cool plane. You know, big metal plane, had the sirens on the early gens of it. Yeah, I really like the Stalker games. Well, as in Truman, President Truman, the guy who dropped the bomb on Japan, that Truman. I guess Truman. I'd assume. How tall was Truman? Let's have a look. President Truman height. 1.72 meters. Adolf Hitler height. Oh, Hitler was slightly taller, but don't know. I think Truman would win because Hitler lost the war anyway. But not that, you know. I don't know many of the Yaks. What was the early Yak jet? Was that the Yak 15? That's pretty cool. I'd like to see a very big open world map that's very reliable and doesn't crash, the ability to play it co-op, good AI, stuff like that. It to feel like a proper Stalker game, not any pay to win mechanics. I mean, he did wave his hands around though a lot, Mike, didn't he? When he was doing, I won't do the salute for obvious reasons on the video, but I mean, with his orating skills, he waved his hands around a lot, so he might be able to slap people in the face really fast. You never know. What do you mean by a sponsorship, Rafael? Like a company pay me to do stuff? No. Yeah, I don't know if I believe that though, JBO. Well, if you don't know Vladimir, there's certain people on here that definitely don't like me. You know, the people that keep saying they want to get me done for terrorism and stuff like that. So, it wouldn't surprise me if it's those sort of people. But I just tend to ignore them. You know, I've had 83 likes, so they're pretty much in the minority there, aren't they? Oh, yeah. I mean, it depends how much meth Hitler's on as well, doesn't it, Shot Zombie? Sorry, I'll allow your comment. It's held it for review. But yeah, with all the meth Hitler was taking, yeah, he'd probably be all over the place, wouldn't he? He'd be like turbo speed. So yeah, if Hitler's on the meth, he'd definitely beat Truman. He'd be unstoppable. Well, they shouldn't be in the US in the middle. The US shouldn't be in the Middle East in the first place. Although it's getting into politics, but no, I don't think we have the right to invade other countries. As I said, I'm fairly libertarian politically. Not that I want to get into politics. But I like the idea of small, limited governments that are basically there to serve the interests of the nation, not invade other countries and do stupid geopolitics stuff. Oh yeah, they had cooler looking uniforms. I'm definitely agreeing with that, Antonio, but I think they're evil bastards. That comment was held for review, Charles, and I don't know why. Was it the word Hitler that made it held for review? Communist? Don't know. Well, interestingly enough, what I was reading that was quite funny is IG Farben, which is like the really evil Nazi-funded like chemical company from World War II that made all the nerve agents, Zyklon B and everything else. One very big thing they did was producing lots of things like really strong opioids and stuff like that. So I'm assuming they were making all of the meth and whatever else for the soldiers and the Nazi high command. I think it's very probable, Leaf. Again, it's probably the lesser of two evils, isn't it? But I think the real shame was what happened to Eastern and Central Europe after World War II, obviously, where lots of those countries that wanted to be independent, like Poland, were occupied by the Soviets and obviously suffered under it for lots and lots of time. Because I'm certainly not going to pretend the Allies didn't do bad things in World War II. Every side did nasty things in World War II, but, you know, things like the Katyn massacre and all that sort of stuff, you know, if you look at what happened to a lot of the Central and Eastern European countries, you know, that's how I think we betrayed a lot of those countries, was by, you know, letting Stalin have them, essentially. Well, the word communism is the one that seems to be getting held to review. Oh, is it my channel's birthday today? I know some people are saying happy birthday. It's definitely not my birthday, but I have a feeling it might be my channel's one, unless you're talking about Weapon Collector's thing, being his birthday tomorrow. But I think I made my channel, Oh, sorry, ME262, I completely missed that, so today's your birthday. Let me look what day it was I made my YouTube channel, because that's got to be nearly a year now. Not a year, you know, like nearly the anniversary of it. Yeah, we are getting a bit political here. To be honest, this is kind of like the funny side of politics. Not talking about the occupation of Eastern Europe, but, you know, like, would Hitler beat whichever person in a fist fight? User created April the 29th, 2012. Okay, so yeah, my YouTube channel's birthday is the same as your birthday, Mike. Not the same year, but the same day, April the 29th. That's funny. Well, if you didn't help the French when it was the Indochina War, or whatever they called it, then I'm sure North Vietnam would have won a lot earlier, and it would have just, you know, the Vietnam War wouldn't have happened as such. It would just be Vietnam became a communist country earlier. I don't know what Class 4 weapons are in The Purge, because I've only seen the Purge TV series. Like I said, Mike, you're one of the big channels that influenced mine, but that was complete coincidence. I must have made the channel on that day. Because I think my first video ever on the channel was just me shooting some cans with an air rifle in like very low video quality. So I've got a East German tanker helmet with fake leather on it that's falling off, and it sheds the fake leather everywhere. But I don't have a Russian one though. But it's basically a Russian one. Yeah, he could body slam him, couldn't he? I actually drink more coffee than tea, but I like both. As much as I'm English, and you probably think a limey should only like tea, not coffee, I probably do drink more coffee than tea. I had coffee in there, it was actually decaf. But for a penny, wow, I wish I could get a tank helmet for a penny. I'm tempted to actually get another tank helmet, I reckon. One of the ones that's not going to shed the stuff everywhere. I think the Polish ones aren't made from that material, so maybe I'll buy a Polish communist tank helmet. Not many more, Zoinky Boy, unless I end up doing them as a stream at some point, not really. Because this channel's more about military history and random militaria collecting than video games. Well, you can get coffee and hot chocolate. That's a mocha, isn't it, or whatever it's called. So I'm sure there's some sort of horrible hybrid between coffee and tea. Well, the problem is, if I listen to their speeches, I can only listen to them translated, can't I? Because Churchill is the only one where I can actually understand what he's saying. I mean, in terms of, like, their shouting style and that, I guess Hitler, but Churchill... You know, I like that I can't even imitate Churchill, but I like he had that sort of more soft-spoken voice. You could blow cigar smoke in their face as well, because he smoked like 20 to 30 cigars a day, didn't he? He lived to be 90. Kevlar Stahlhelm style sort of helmets, JBO Bushcraft, like the US Pasket helmets and that sort of design. That's very interesting, Vladimir. I didn't know that. So it's only like the more modern ones that have survived, or like the older ones, I guess. Coffee, definitely. I don't like energy drinks. A lot of fizzy drinks seem to upset my stomach where I've got ulcerative colitis, but coffee doesn't really cause problems with it. So I'd rather just have a really strong, earthy tasting coffee than an energy drink, especially the ones that taste like horrible and synthetic. Yeah, I know the one, the big passive infrared night vision, or whatever it is, where you need the big thrower lamp to make it work. No, because it's fallen down and I'd have to get behind my desk to put it up. I don't have any problem with putting it up. I said I don't give a damn about the politics of the flag. I will be reconstructed and I do not give a damn. But no, it's actually a lot of effort to get that back up, because I need to move the table to get it back in its position. I just can't be bothered. It can sit on the back of the table for now. Ah, okay, Vladimir. Fair enough, that's quite an interesting point. Alright, see you, Constantine. Don't forget to like the stream, everybody who's on the stream and they've not been on there earlier, because giving it likes seems to help it get shared. There's 41 current viewers, so hopefully some of you haven't liked the stream yet, and if you like the stream, it helps it get shared. Oh good, we've gone up to 87. I'm hoping I can get 100 before I finish the stream. Right, 88 likes now, that's good. But yeah, I'm going to go to at least an hour and a half. It says I'm on an hour and 23 minutes at the moment. It would be good if I could get to 100 likes before I finish this stream. I don't know what my most liked stream is. Let's see if I can have a quick look. Worst SMG. The Japanese Type 100, whatever it's called, is meant to be a bad SMG, isn't it? I rarely drink. Medically unfit, as just said, I've got ulcerative colitis, I'm autistic, well I'm pretty high functioning, but that's still a no-no for the British Army, even though they're desperate for recruits at this stage. I'm asthmatic, so, you know, completely useless as far as the military is concerned. I'm hopefully, yeah, I'll definitely stream tomorrow. It'll have to be an afternoon stream or earlier though, because I'm out at a rehearsal in the evening again. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, so I suppose it kept their heads warm and gave them a bit more padding if something hit them in the head. Don't know what you mean by rip in the chat. Right, see you, Michelle. I don't know what you mean by that, Raphael. I have no idea what you're on about. No, I've not seen a movie, T-34. I've also not seen The Beast, one in Afghanistan. In most situations, as much as I like tanks, I don't think I've ever seen a good tank movie yet. I watched that Israeli tank movie years ago, didn't like that. I watched Fury, thought that was a bit crap, because, you know, in Fury the Germans can't aim, and they don't use their anti-armor weapons even when they've got them against a tank. About 100 Gemel... I don't know how to pronounce your name. So what's class 4? I can see everything up to class 3. What, class 4 machine guns and like rocket launchers or what? No, haven't heard of that, Raphael. Cold War. That's when I've got the most militaria from Zonky Boy. But I also like medieval stuff, but obviously you're not going to get authentic medieval stuff for sensible prices. Right, it says 89 likes on my thing, not 90 Peach, but yeah, if we can get it up another 10 or 11 to 100, that would be good. I'm on for another 5 or so minutes at least. I'm just going to have some water. It says 90 likes on my end now. Ooh. Just a second, I need to sort something out. Favourite blade? My Fairbairn Sykes. But not as a practical one, just as a cool military collectible. In terms of practical one, probably Tangram Amarillo. Right, hello, I see you've got a Freedom picture. So I take it you like Stalker then? Lisgovati, if I'm pronouncing your name right. Okay, I don't know why that is then, Mike, that's strange. But, yeah, for whatever reason, the interface then gives you a different number than what I get. Old Yugoslavian helmet, M5985. So technically not the old Yugoslavian helmet, somebody was saying earlier in the chat, the newer Yugoslavian helmet, but, you know, old as in Yugoslavia doesn't exist anymore. I suppose stuff like that, Vladimir, though, was built to last, wasn't it? There's lots of old stuff like that that's built to a really high standard, that's still in good condition, where you get lots of modern stuff that falls apart within minutes because of, you know, the difference in how it was made. Out of all the masks I've got, Flynn, my favourite's the Avon CT12, so the Avon FM12 I think would work well for most nations. If they did an FM12 with a panoramic style face thing, maybe if they wanted that, but yeah. I don't really think you can get much better than a mask like an FM12. I mean, I'm sure you can, but what I'm saying is I've never seen anything that, you know, looks like, logistically, you know, in terms of how much it would produce to make, you know, how much it would cost to produce and all stuff like that, you know, and the practicality of it. I don't really think, you know, things like the Fushida, the S10, the FM12, all those kinds of designs, they kind of seem to be the pinnacle of mask design, and the masks that go beyond that seem to have lots of weird ideas, you know, where they seem to start chucking more and more stuff onto the mask because they think that would make the mask better, when really, to me, it makes it look like the mask is getting more and more cluttered. I'm not listening to any music right now, but I listen to all sorts. I've been listening to a few soundtracks again recently. Very rare, well, not on streams and things like that, Lisk, but I do play games. I still play Stalker now and again. Yeah, why not? I suppose you can then pretend you're in the KGB. Not that you'd really want to do that, but still. Yeah, it's like, I think I said before about boots. I had those old German army boots, not like World War II jackboot things, but, you know, like 80s or whatever they were, German leather, like, you know, actual military, not parade boots, actual ones for proper military use. And they lasted me a good 5 or 6 years of, like, almost everyday wear at one point. Whereas lots of boots now, within months, you know, they're starting to tear. You know, like, the leather's ripping or whatever. Gemal, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, right, I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong. The Avon CT12, I thought you already asked me that. What have you got, Peach? Oh, the Lord's Pretender in them. Is, It's not called It Ain't Me, is it? It's Fortunate Son, but that always plays in my head when somebody mentions Nam. Yeah, because they sold it all off, didn't they, and then realised they needed it. Britain's done that quite a few times with its own surplus. Well, the L1A1 is a foul, but it's an L1A1. The L1A1 is the British-built foul, known as an inch pattern foul. Like a lot of the English stuff, like War of the Roses and stuff sort of earlier than that. You know, like the weird Dark Age sort of... Not, I wouldn't say weird, but you know, where like the actual armour had got quite good and all that, and they were a bit better, you know, like their military tactics are better. So not like as far back as the Viking kind of stuff. But I'd say probably after 1066, so maybe 1300s, 1400s. Not for any particular, you know, like war. Although, like I said, War of the Roses is quite interesting, because obviously I'm in England, and that's one of our big civil wars we've had in the past. But, you know, just like where you had all the proper sort of knights in the cool looking armour, and, you know, all the pole arms and stuff like that, but not quite into the Renaissance properly. I know I'm not being that helpful, but obviously Europe in the medieval period wasn't a blanket thing all, you know, at one time period. But yeah, you get what I'm getting at. 13th and 14th century, basically, yeah, like 1300s, sort of 1200s, 1300s sort of time. Deactivated, yes, gas mask, God. All perfectly legal to own in the UK. I've got a load of Soviet camo. Well, not a load of Soviet camo. I've got SS Lito. I've got loads of Soviet gas masks, Lisk. But I've mostly got like East German and other like Warsaw Pact nations in terms of stuff. But I don't really collect uniforms as such. As I was already asked in the stream quite a few times, the Axis ones look cooler, but I don't particularly like the Axis nations. Well, the English Civil War, like the one we call the Civil War, although we have more than one Civil War, obviously, the one with Cromwell in, you know, Charles I and Cromwell, that's the most interesting in terms of, I think, you know, like Cromwell understanding good logistics and, you know, like the new model army and all that sort of stuff. But War of the Roses I find a bit more interesting, because again, it's in that time period I find actually more interesting out the two. But yeah, I've already said I'm going to be streaming tomorrow. I can't guarantee you a time yet. I've got a rehearsal in the evening, so it's going to have to be earlier than that, but I don't know exactly what time yet. I've got an East German greatcoat, Lisk, but I don't have any like Soviet greatcoats. I've got a Czechoslovakian Army's officer's trench coat as well. Oh, this is weird as well. The concurrent viewers is different in the top bit of the thing for me than the bottom bit. Like it said 40 on one bit then and 36 on the other. That's strange. I don't know if one update's slower than the other, which might be the same thing with likes. But don't forget to like the stream, everybody, if you've not liked it yet, because I'm an hour and 34 minutes in now. I won't be streaming for all that much longer, but I'd like to get over 100 likes if possible before I finish. Assuming that there's enough new people currently watching the stream that weren't on it earlier, that they can add to the like count. Yeah, I mean, that is definitely interesting, ME262. I definitely agree with that. Were you a tramp or something, Mike? I saw the thumbnail where you looked a bit like a tramp, but I couldn't see it properly because I just saw it quickly when I was at work, when I was on my break, so I didn't watch it. I have to watch it later. But yeah, I mean, it's very interesting, isn't it? Like the whole fall of the Roman Empire and going into the Dark Ages. But personally, I just find that, you know, when Europe was starting to become a bit more civilized again, but not really the Renaissance, you know, yet. So, you know, the stuff before the Black Death kind of thing, and the Black Death itself is pretty fascinating, and the Great Plague. I find historical pandemics and all stuff like that interesting as well. Hope it's not too bad, Peach. Think of the money. It's a bit better at the moment, Lisk, because my ulcerative colitis flare is calming down that I had like a month ago. What about Verdun, Spartan Kid? Did Verdun get trench warfare wrong? I mean, there's not actually tanks in Verdun, is there, or aeroplanes, really, but... Yeah, don't worry, Frost. Lots of people can't, you know, do every stream. No, the closest I can speak to another language is German, and that's called butchering German. So, you know, mein Deutsch ist nicht gut, sprechen Sie English, danke. Ja, 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 ja. Yeah, don't get shot by a sniper, don't get killed by artillery. The one that's generally always considered the worst tank, is it called the Valiant? I'm pretty sure it's the Valiant. It was the one Britain built that is now used as an example, apparently, how not to design a tank, or it was used as for a while for engineers to how not to design a tank. It was the one where, like, if your foot slipped off the pedals, they'd have to amputate your foot or break your foot to get it out from the pedal well. It was the one that overheated constantly and things like that. Now, Bob Simple's cool because it's literally like a load of corrugated iron with machine guns on it. It looks very orky. I'd rather have a Bob Simple than Valiant. Yeah, MUA with an FP5 filter for £10. Yeah, get it. Or $10, whatever. Get it, get it, get it. Yeah, periscopes are interesting. What I've got somewhere, and I don't know where they are, maybe in a shed because my granddad gave them me. He's like, I randomly found these, you can have them. And they're apparently artillery optics. World War II British artillery optics, or like British artillery rangefinders or something. But he just randomly had them in his shed and then he gave them me. Very strange. I don't know where he got them from. GP5, £10 to £15 or dollars. Now, I've got the Yugoslavian helmet on, so that's a good spot tuxedo, but now I'm English. I wear generally a different helmet or gas mask every stream, and this one I'm wearing the same one as I wore last time, the Yugoslav helmet, because it's comfortable and I can have it on for like nearly 2 hours and it doesn't bother me in the slightest having it on that long. Right, we're at 98 likes, so are we able to get it to 100? That would be brilliant. Is there anybody watching that's not liked it yet? Remember, if you like it and we get it to 100 likes, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't do a threshold or anything. It's just it'd be nice to get to that many likes before I finish streaming. This cost me £13, but then when I looked for more, I couldn't find any for that price. £13 for any sort of helmet's good, but especially when in this good condition. They're not that cheap in England, but they're like £10 to £15 kind of price range. So it says 99 on mine, but you know, good that you got to 100, or I got to 100 even, whatever. But yeah, they're not a packet of crisps kind of price in England, but they're not expensive as far as expensive goes. I know there's a joke, Vladimir, I don't know if you've heard this. Oh, it says 100 likes on my screen now. Thank you, everybody. The problem is I'm going to ruin the joke if I don't say it properly. But it's basically, let me see if, it says something like, all of the best Soviet optics are made in Germany. It's something like that. I've ruined the joke because I can't remember what it is, but it's basically, you know, all of the good captured German equipment was better than the Soviet stuff. Well, a GP5M is better than a GP5, I'd say, but not if you particularly wanted a GP5. £10 to £15 or dollars, gas mask god. Less if you can get it for less, but don't pay more than £15 or dollars, really. Because they're dropped once, never fired, I guess, Zoinky boy. But actually, France, in most of real history, has been a pretty badass weapon. Not badass weapon, badass nation. You know, like Napoleon conquering lots of Europe. They fought pretty damn hard in World War One. It's just in World War Two, I didn't think they had, like, you know, the motivation to fight, but. Is that in... Oh. Oh, yeah, yeah, like, sorry, yeah, just, I missed your first comment, Shots on me. You're saying, yeah, you didn't see the Soviet rip-offs of, or, like, when the Russian Federation formed, the rip-offs of other things. It was mostly, you know, like, the tan-brown kind of uniforms, wasn't it? Yeah, I get what you're on about. And it was, like, then after that, the Soviets or the Russians started, yeah, making loads and loads. There's one, isn't there, that's a copy of 95 DPM, which I always find quite funny, obviously, because I'm English, just... Russia liked our camo so much they copied it and gave it their own name. That's cool, Vladimir. So, at least in Russia, you actually, or Soviet Union, you at least had civil defence. In England, the idea was, haha, everybody's fucked. But that was the civil defence here. I think it stops too much humidity getting in the filter, Josh, but it would also stop some particulates getting in, so in theory, the filter would last longer with a sock on it. See you, Zoinky boy. I'm going to head off in a minute. I think it looked cool, Adwin, but that doesn't mean I always condone, you know, all that sort of stuff like we were saying about Nazi uniforms. I know it's not really comparable because I'm not going to get into all that on this stream, I said. But also the helmets and armour look really cool, yeah. And why was that shot on me? Was it because it was expensive to produce or what? Oh, okay, yeah. As in, SS Leto seems to work really well. I know it's a German design originally, but that seems to work really well. When I've seen Brent's videos, when he's moving with that on, that is still effective when he's moving. It's amazing. I don't use it for carrying things, but my favourite gas mask satchel of all time, Joseph, is the Czech M10M bag I've got, which is kind of like a suede sort of maybe Forks leather bag, but it's really, really nice. Or it might be like vinyl coated, some sort of vinyl coated material, but it's got really nice poppers, it's got a really good size, you know, really good quality straps. Not at the moment, Peach. I might do at some point, but not at the moment. I'm gonna finish the stream now, but thanks everybody. If you read the gov.uk page, Spartan Kid, it will tell you, but I can't really be bothered to go into all the rules now when I'm just finishing the stream. But thanks everybody. So yeah, thanks everybody. See ya. I will be on tomorrow. I don't know the time, but it will definitely be before 8 PM UK time. But when I say before, it could be like 5 PM sort of time, 6 PM, or even earlier. Oh, thank you very much, Hotshot. Yeah, thank you. I do appreciate that. Thank you. That's really nice of you. Yeah. So cheers. But thanks to everybody, not just Hotshot. Thanks. Yeah, it's been an enjoyable evening for me because, as I said, I've been working, so it's nice that you know, just to get just do a stream, you know, chat with people, but I don't have the energy to do it. But yeah, thank you, Hotshot, and thank you to everybody else. And yeah, I'll see everybody when I next do a stream. I'm streaming tomorrow, as said, but see you then. And thanks again to Hotshot, because I do appreciate that.